Interesting idea. Theists either win or draw, and atheists either draw or lose. It's obviously going to have the atheists on the back foot the entire time. I mean, I could only think of one kind of objection to this point, which you've probably heard before. It won't be a new one, which is that, isn't it? I mean, I guess in kind of classic discussions on the problem of evil, theism and the supernatural tools that it kind of talks of, like redemption or sacrifice or sanctification or whatever it is that's used to work as a theodicy to like address the problem of evil. These things get invoked, but the problem of evil itself is deliberately being deployed to challenge those tools and the notion of their truth and scope. So kind of in light of this, is it valid to claim the supernatural tools upon which the problem of systemic evil would be found held against a theistic worldview? And yeah, does that make sense? I can kind of rephrase that if you need me to, but.
So you're suggesting that, okay, maybe theists can develop a theological response to the problem of evil, but that kind of response tends to be somehow ad hoc because they are formulated after looking at the existence of evil in the world. Is that the idea?
Not entirely. I guess what I'm trying to say is that the supernatural tools that would have to be deployed for a theodicy to stand are in themselves the very things being challenged by the problem of evil that is being posed against it. So it's almost like there's a problem of evil, tools are used to deploy against the problem of evil, but then the problem of evil was deliberately trying to attack those tools. So it's almost like a consistent loop that you can't ever get out of. I kind of understand that if you were to view it in a sort of linear format, you'd have problem of evil was deployed against theists to challenge the theistic tools that they would believe to be true, like God's, is omnibenevolent or whatever, and then we could then deploy those tools in a theodicy to challenge the problem of evil. But it's always kind of felt a bit strange to me because the whole point of the problem of evil is to challenge the very tools upon which the theists would use to build a theodicy against the problem of evil. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of try to avoid theological issues in my book.
Yeah.
But, when theists talk about redemption or whatever, these theological concepts, why do you think the problem of evil directly applies to them?
Say that again. Sorry, I just missed the last bit.
So I think you say that, theists can try to respond to the problem of evil by appealing to theological ideas like redemption or whatever. But these ideas, theological ideas themselves face the problem of evil. Therefore, these ideas are not available to respond to the problem of evil. I thought that's what you said.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. That sort of infinite regress of problem and
how do you
response.
get this regress? So let's say we appeal to redemption. Why the notion of redemption faces the problem of evil?
So I guess we would say you could turn around and argue that the problem of evil itself challenges the very notion of a God that's capable of enabling redemption to be actualized in some future state. So the whole point of the evidential problem of evil is to not obviously knock down theism, but it's to challenge the underlying assumptions that there is an all good, all powerful, all loving God who's able to redeem the world and sanctify us and set us free. And it's that the problem of evil is trying to challenge. So if the problem of evil is successful in challenging that to some degree, it seems a bit circular to begin to utilize the tools that are being challenged, which is the classic theistic picture and all of that ontological framework that's available to it, to then bolster the theistic position about the problem of evil. Now, I'm not saying that I'm correct in what I'm saying. I'm just saying this is a common trend that I'm seeing when people are trying to respond to the problem of evil. A theist will posit, obviously, like, for instance, eternity as a viable mechanism on which God could ground reality and to help people to get over the evil that they experience within the world. That, obviously theists are doing that all the time. I guess the challenge that I see raised by atheists is, but aren't we trying to challenge the idea of the infinite in the first place by raising a problem of evil. So to then just to pick up the same tools and to just move them a little bit further along and then to redeploy them seems a little bit circular.
So are you saying that if theists appeal to the notion of redemption, you can immediately ask, how come redemption doesn't take place much earlier to eliminate the problem of evil? Or
potentially, yeah. I mean, you could go about it in a sort of plethora of ways. I guess the problem of evil is challenging the notion that there is a God who's capable of performing the redemption. And that's what the problem of evil is like trying to do. It's trying to cause an issue for the theists in the God that they're claiming is real and actual.
Because I'm inclined to think that I would look at it from a different angle, and I'm inclined to think that, okay, theism is almost almighty because they can make up anything. If you exaggerate their view, they have something beyond nature, and that can be anything. So in a way, they can come up with all sorts of responses because their resources are limitless. So I think critics could say that atheists' responses to the problem of evil are ad hoc because they just add new theories just to undercut the problem of evil, and there is no limit to what they can appeal to. But in any case, what I try to do in my book is not to defend any specific theodicy. Firstly, because I don't know any successful theodicy. I think the problem of evil remains a significant challenge for everyone, including theists. But secondly, I didn't want to write another book defending a new theodicy, which is quite difficult. And again, I don't find any specific theodicy particularly compelling. So my point is pretty modest. So I say, now both theists and atheists, they face the same problem. And when they try to respond, at least theists can be more hopeful than atheists. So here's an analogy. So imagine a very hard rock, which corresponds to the problem of systemic evil. And both theists and atheists, they want to smash this rock. And atheists / naturalists, they have 3 big hammers, while theists / supernaturalists, they have 5 hammers, and 3 of them are the same as the hammers that atheists have. But they have 2 extra hammers. If atheists can smash the hard rock with one of the 3 hammers that they have, then theists can do that as well because they share the same hammers. But if atheists cannot smash the rock with their 3 hammers, then theists, they can still be hopeful that the 2 other hammers that they have can smash the rock. And it's not guaranteed that they can do that, but at least they can be hopeful. So in this sense, theists can either win or draw, while atheists can draw or lose.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I mean, I was going to kind of go down the analogy of sort of like a tool shed where I've got a tool shed in my back garden. It's yay big, and then the theists have a tool shed in their back garden. And it's yay big plus some extra because they've got room and scope for these extra bits. I think the point the sort of very modest point that I was trying to get across is those extra tools are precisely the things that are being challenged by the problem of evil themselves. So of course they're going to be able to, and they will deploy whatever tools that they're able to get their hands on to deal with the problem of evil and present their own theodicies in their own way. I'm totally aware of that. I guess the sort of classic challenge against that is, but surely that is the very starting point that's trying to be addressed with the problem of evil. Anyway, are there any sort of closing thoughts on that, Professor Nagasawa?
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. So I allow the possibility that these 2 extra hammers that theists have, they might be useless. And I think that's analogous to your claim. Maybe these 2 hammers, they're useless precisely because these tools face the problem of evil. And that's possible. And in that case, if that's the ultimate conclusion that we derive, I'm still happy with my work because at least we appear to agree that at least the problem of evil arises for both theists and atheists. So we have to somehow address the problem. And even if I fail to show that theists can really solve the problem while atheists cannot, even if I can establish that, I'm still happy, because if we can all agree that the problem of evil is much deeper than people tend to think. So going back to Mackie's very first starting point, Mackie said that the problem of evil, at least the version that he presents, is a problem specifically for traditional theists who believe that there is an omnipotent and all-good God. And if you're happy to give up your belief in this kind of God, then the problem of evil doesn't arise. And I want to challenge this kind of claim. So the problem of evil is a much deeper problem, which is relevant to not just traditional theists, but to almost everyone.
If you enjoyed this clip, head on over to Locals to watch the full conversation right now. Supporters can access the video version, and everyone can freely listen to the audio-only version of the conversation. If you're on YouTube or Rumble, please like, subscribe, and then hit the bell notification icon so you never miss a new episode. I'll catch you next time. Cheers.